Hi guys, how are you? Have you been? I haven't been here in a while, have I? I had a really prolonged bout of an endometriosis flare up, which has had me um, I'm down, but hopefully not completely out for a few weeks. Um, it's been tough. Lots of grand plans I have had to be put on hold. That said, I think there are things I've learned and reflected on or thought on during this time of a relative quiet, and hopefully it's making me a better person. It's coming together to help. So to introduce myself to those that don't know me, my name is Margaret Scani. I'm a consultant liaison psychiatrist. I live and work in the UK. Um, I go by Dr. Maggie Prevent on social media, and you can find me on the various social media platforms, most of them. And I am in the middle of a transition from more clinical work to preventative mental health. I trained as a liaison psychiatrist, a general adult psychiatrist, and I do enjoy seeing patients, but I felt more and more that my purpose is more to do with communication and preventative mental health care, and some psychological therapy work around the cognitive analytic therapies. And so I'm in the middle of a career transition to focus more on some of those things. Um, and today I just want to talk a little bit about the transition. The transition period has been interesting but challenging, because I don't know, how are things going for you guys? How have the past few weeks been? I guess there have been various societal, national challenges, whether it's around elections or protests or campaigns or economic issues, all sorts of bits and bobs. Um, Life has been a little bit challenging for all of us, I guess, in different ways. But I'm sure there have been successes, there have been pleasant things that have happened, um, there have been delightful things that, have happened in our lives. And when going through challenges, I like to think of what we call exits in cognitive analytic therapy. And maybe if you've watched one of my earlier videos, you might have seen me talk a little bit about how you can think of life like a motorway, where we tend to do things a particular way, and that's how we just keep on going straight on the road driving, on a motorway driving. But then the exits we can take might divert from the main pathway, but might lead us to healthier ways of doing things. And it's something I can talk about a little bit more some other time. But some of the exits that seem to work in cognitive analytic therapy around stop and think. First of all, when everything seems to be chaotic, just stop and have a think about what's going on, right? Why? What might have led to it? What are the consequences potential, real, imagined? What are other ways you could do things? Another exit is that there's not just one way of looking at things. Sorry, I need to clean my eyes a bit. Sorry, I'm back. So another exit is there are always other options, right? Many times our vision can become really, really streamlined and focused on one thing or one way of doing things. Like there aren't other options, and when you know our first option or our backup option doesn't work, we can feel like we're really, really in a vice, we're stuck, and there are no other options. But one of the cognitive analytic therapy exits I use in my work, and which I found beneficial, even in thinking about my own life, is there are always options, right? If what you've planned, what you've imagined, what you've hoped for is not working out, remember there are always other options, right? Another helpful one I'll mention is, remember the only person you can change is yourself. Many times we think we can change our family members, our partners, our children. We can contribute to helping people evolve certain ways of thinking and being, but ultimately each person has to make a decision about how they're going to be, and the only person you can really change is yourself, right? And there are quite a few of them. But in terms of thinking about life and change and uncertainty, a lot of which I've experienced recently, um, I think something that has maybe been helpful for me, has been to stop and think in the midst of all this. When I'm lying down on the sofa, when I would much rather be working, I'm lying there because of this latest endometriosis flare up, and I'm really wishing this wasn't the case. I, realized that maybe I might have on occasion focused on the wrong thing or prioritized the wrong thing, and maybe I should try something else. Um, I've realized some things that work or some options I could try that I necessarily might not have been focusing on. Um, and so I just think stop and think is useful. And sometimes stop and think is just beneficial for our health and our well being. Just stop, stop, stop. We're all on the go, go, go. Sometimes it's just useful to stop. And life has a way of either letting you stop on your own or stopping you. I have been stopped by life recently in the past few weeks, with the endo flare up. And well, it hasn't been pleasant. I think I've learned a few things, right? And I am learning more and more. Um, Thinking about my transition to public mental health, preventative mental health. One of the things I'm learning is, or I'm trying to figure out, and I don't have the answers yet, is what's the right balance for my preventative mental health work and my clinical career as I go forward. Um, there have been times I have thought I'm just going to leave clinical psychiatry completely behind. I'll probably do some clinical cognitive analytic therapy, but not clinical psychiatry. There have been other times I've thought, okay, I'll do maybe 1 or 2 days of clinical psychiatry a week and preventative mental health. There have been times where I just haven't been sure. I've not come to an obvious answer right now. If you ask me, I think I might just say I'm going to focus on communication and preventative mental health and some cognitive analytic therapy. Over the past few weeks, or a couple of months, or maybe a month or so, I did try to do some clinical psychiatry along my preventative mental health, and it didn't work as I hoped it would. It wasn't as effective a combination as I thought it would be. So I'm rethinking things. And one thing I will say is, I know I talk a lot about transitioning from a clinical career to preventative mental health, but please note that I am not against clinical psychiatry. I think it's an excellent field which contributes towards the well-being of millions around the world. I think we need more psychiatrists, so I'm happy to do clinical psychiatry, right? I obviously think we need more preventative mental health psychiatrists who think about prevention, who think about, nipping things in the bud where we can, or generally improving the health of the population. But I also think we need to start thinking about more ways of preventing some of the mental ill health issues people have, right? And so I just want to say, I do value my training in clinical psychiatry, right? I don't regret training as a psychiatrist. No, 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 no. That's why you will notice I might call myself a preventative mental health professional or other word, but honestly, I think of myself as a preventative mental health psychiatrist. I think my training as a psychiatrist, my clinical background as a psychiatrist, I think it's invaluable in my preventative mental health work, because I think that training and the experience and the expertise I've had to build actually seeing patients clinically in a variety of settings and countries and so on, I think it has contributed to the value I hope I bring to my work as a preventative mental health person. So um, going back to my transition, going forward, the things I'm thinking of setting up, some of you might be aware, I might have mentioned, I am building a consultancy, and that's been fun, tedious, uncertain, hopeful, all sorts of adjectives. And part of the work we'll be doing in the consultancy, we're going to work with individuals, we're going to work with groups and organizations, and we're going to work with healthcare groups. And some of this work I've already done it in the past year or two, more as an add-on, but now it's going to be the primary thing. And if you're interested or your organization is interested, reach out. We'll have a chat, because I think there are many options to optimize people's mental health, right? I'll be offering sessions for individuals, right? Now, there is conventional therapy, which I'm happy to do with people or I'm happy to support people to get, conventional therapy once the organization is set up and all the paperwork and accreditation and so on is hopefully sorted out. But still, there's some work we want to do, which would be what we in the CAT cognitive analytic therapy field call CAT informed, which is, the work is not CAT therapy per se, but it is supported and informed by the principles of cognitive analytic therapy. And our goal in the consultancy is to offer support to people to optimize their mental health by, putting in place principles around preventative mental health. And some of that work can be done through talking therapy inspired approaches or talking therapy informed approaches, right? I think there is value in doing an entire 8 or 16 or 24 or however many long session therapy. I think that can bring a lot of value. I'm a big believer in the talking therapies. I think everybody at some point in their life should go through, comprehensive, number of sessions of talking therapy. But that's a whole other conversation I can have another time. But beyond that, I think we can also all have, touch ups and, sort of top ups or touch ups, whichever you want to choose, to try to improve our mental health, right? So we'll be offering some of those sessions. It could be a one session thing, it could be a few sessions, two, three, four. It could be something that's near to conventional talking therapy, but things that would explore things around stress, burnout, the things that make life and living challenging, right? And it would be tailored to individuals, what you're going through in your life. Now, you don't have to be mentally ill. That's our whole point. We don't want you to wait till a psychiatrist or your GP or somebody tells you you've got anxiety, you've got depression, you've got schizophrenia, you need support and medication and treatment. There is value to that. That's a very important piece of work that needs to be done. So please, if you've got anxiety, depression, or schizophrenia, that doesn't mean we can't support you. We can support you to mitigate or to reduce the impacts of your conditions. But still, I think it's important that we support people before they get to that point. So if you're struggling, come have a chat. Come talk to me. Come talk to us, right? Reach out to us. Let's talk to you while you're stressed, you're burnt out, you're not sure, while you are just, wondering what's going on and trying to make sense of things. Let's help you, you know, let's be a mirror. Let's explore what's going on and help you make sense of life and help you figure out and reach out to your sources of support so that you're better able to handle everyday life without letting it, just get worse and worse till you actually need intensive clinical help. So those are some of the things we will be doing. Um, I've always said that I remember the work and the stuff we do on this clinical session, or sorry, on these social media sessions are not to be considered equivalent to clinical care, right? If you're struggling with a mental illness or some discomfort, of one kind or the other, get in touch with the support services in your area. Book an appointment with your GP or your therapist or your psychiatrist or whatever emergency services are available in your area. Reach out to the appropriate clinical support and get care. Despite my belief in preventative mental health care, as you have heard me say, I do believe absolutely in the value of clinical care and treatment. So if you are unwell, reach out for that, right? Always remember that this does not replace clinical care from your healthcare professionals in your area. Um, it'll be great to hear what's going on in your lives. Are there any challenges? Are there any transitions? Are there any things that are going on that you're thinking about or changing your mind about? You can put a comment in the comment box. And it's been lovely to see you. As always, remember prevention saves lives, and that includes mental health prevention. Together, let's optimize our mental health. Really good to see you. Subscribe, like, share the video, and yeah, till next time. Take care.